The Duet Part 2 Double Edge. Sandra Street did not just change the locks, she reinforced the frame with heavy steel. Every click of the deadbolt was a defiant note in a song of self-preservation. She told herself she was afraid, but as she ran her fingers over the cold metal, a spark of something else flickered in her chest. It wasn't just fear, it was the thrill of the hunt beginning. Kendrick had started the game, but Sandra had always been a fast learner. Outside, parked beneath the weeping willow that shaded the cul-de-sac, Kendrick Ward sat in the suffocating heat of his sedan. He didn't need a key to be inside her head. He watched the light in her bedroom flicker on and then off. He adjusted the lens of his camera. The mechanical were a heartbeat in the stillness. To him, Sandra wasn't just a woman. She was a masterpiece he was still composing, one secret at a time. The next morning, Sandra found a small, black magnetic box tucked into the wheel well of her SUV. Most women would have called the police. Sandra simply smiled, a sharp, jagged expression. She didn't remove the tracker. Instead, she took it into her kitchen and placed it next to a glass of wine. She began to talk to it, whispering her plans for the day, knowing he was listening to every breath she took. Sandra's mysterious behavior began to escalate. She drove to empty warehouses and sat in the parking lots for hours, staring at the GPS on her phone. She was leading Kendrick on a dance through the city, creating a trail of digital breadcrumbs that led nowhere and everywhere. She wanted to see how far he would follow, how much of his life he would sacrifice to keep his eyes on hers. The obsession reached a fever pitch when Sandra decided to stop running. Using a locksmith's kit she'd practiced with for weeks, she entered Kendrick's apartment while he was out patrolling her neighborhood. The air in his home smelled of old paper and expensive cologne. It was a tomb of her own making, and she walked through it with the reverence of a ghost. In the back room, she found the shrine. It wasn't just photos from TikTok. There were strands of her hair gathered from her hairbrush, receipts from her favorite grocery store, and a wall covered in a timeline of her life. Sandra didn't scream. She reached out and touched a photo of herself, her fingers tracing the line of her own jaw. She felt a surge of power. She was the sun his entire world revolved around. The floorboard creaked behind her. Sandra didn't flinch. She knew the rhythm of his step. Kendrick stood in the doorway, his silhouette tall and imposing against the hallway light. He didn't look angry that she had broken in. He looked relieved. He had spent so long looking through a lens that seeing her in his own sanctuary felt like a miracle. Kendrick walked toward her, his movements slow and deliberate. He stopped just inches away, the tension between them a physical weight. "I knew you'd come," he whispered, his voice the same low rumble from the videos, but now it held a jagged edge. He reached out, his hand hovering near her throat, not to hurt, but to claim. "We're the same, Sandra. We both thrive in the dark." Sandra pulled her phone from her pocket and turned the screen toward him. It wasn't the tracker app. It was a folder labeled Kendrick. Inside were hundreds of photos she had taken of him, at the grocery store, at the park, through his own car window. She had been watching the watcher. "You think you found me, Kendrick?" she whispered. "I let you think you were winning so I could see how you'd play." They sat together on his sofa, the blue light of their phones the only illumination in the room. They weren't talking, they were duetting. They posted a new video simultaneously, two halves of a dark, wordless song. Outside, the world went on, oblivious to the two predators who had finally found their match. The attraction wasn't just fatal, it was a closed loop, a digital cage they had built together, and neither intended to leave.